Pinkerton, and we can get started on the agenda.
Okay.
Edie, are you there? We just saw you join.
I'm here. Let me click again. Okay.
Okay, and we just admitted Stuart.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Sarah.
Okay, so Andy, if you want to go ahead and get started, Lee may be joining us.
Yes.
Okay. Let me remind everybody to mute their speaker. I'm getting a lot of reverberation on this end as well, so if you would mute your speaker. Let me call this meeting into order. It's the August meeting of the Courthouse Square Historic Preservation Commission. First up is the approval of our agenda. It's before you. Two matters to be considered. Are there any changes to our agenda, or is there a motion that we approve it as it's written?
Approve as written.
Motion, is there a second?
I will second.
There's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving our agenda as drawn indicate by saying yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Any opposition? Okay, we've got an agenda. There are minutes before you from our June 1 meeting. Are there any changes, or is there a motion we approve as they were written?
Approve as written. Amanda Heineman.
Thank you, Amanda. Second.
I'll second. Griffin Tanner.
Thank you, Griffin. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as drawn indicate by saying yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? All right, first up, case number 341, signage for 319 North Boulevard. Do we need to go over this since there's administrative approval?
We do not.
Okay. All right, next up, public hearing 342, requested by Edie Conkerton, install a new storefront in place of existing shutters. You'll find that in your materials as well. Staff want to speak to this before Edie?
Sure, so I've just shared my screen. You guys can see the two elevations that Edie provided. This is very similar to an approval recently given by this commission. In fact, I almost did it administratively, but I wanted to talk to you guys about how you would feel about that going forward. You'll see that one area of paneled shutters is being changed to glazing. It's essentially like a storefront type of glazing, just like we approved for the top right unit, I think in June. So you can see that change. It's sort of the second bay at the very top. Those shutters will be changed to glazing. So if anyone has questions for me or for Edie, now would be the time.
Thank you, Kate. Any questions of either Kate or Edie, the commissioner? Motion?
I make a motion that we move to approve. Lee Benoit.
Thank you, Lee.
And second.
All right, this motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the EOH?
Aye.
Aye. Griffin Tanner.
Any opposed? All right. First up, we've got our approval.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't,
Thank you. Oh.
I'd like to just ask a point of clarification from the commission. As Kate pointed out a moment ago, this is something that we ordinarily would think would fit well in an administrative approval. This is before the commission now for a second time. If this were to come back up again, would y'all feel comfortable with us administratively approving that?
I would. Donegal.
Very good.
I would. Lee Benoit.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if you got any reservations whatsoever, just touch base with one of us and that filled the pulse, but I don't personally have any problem with it.
Okay.
Great. We didn't think you would either, but we'd rather err on the side of caution.
With risk of opening up a 30-minute discussion, can anybody give me the 5-minute or less thumbnail on the status of Smitty's?
Status of what?
Smitty's 208.
Oh, the status, yes, you bet. Thank you for bringing that up. So we have had conversations with the property owner, Tim Smith. They do have a design. We're in the process of scheduling a time to sit down and meet with them to kind of go over just kind of an initial, just an initial review and presentation. But it's actually, we reached out to them on Friday, and he says that they anticipate coming before this commission for a complimentary review at the September meeting, and then they're not. They want to go through this and do it right, and they want to hear comments and feedback from y'all, the commission, that they can then, if necessary, incorporate into the final design application, which would come before you. I would think ideally in October. So I think they've been dealing with a survey issue, which has forced them to either modify their design or be a little bit more creative within the design. So that's kind of what's taken them a little bit longer to get through the process.
Just anticipating the storm that's coming, is that site fairly secure? No co-eds and students going to end up in the bottom of that thing?
We'll make sure that we'll make sure that it is secure. I mean, I think it is right now. It's fenced in, so we'll just make sure that they give it a good once over in preparation of the storm.
Any further questions?
Okay, before we break, our next meeting falls the week of Labor Day, so we'll need to reschedule. Traditionally, you guys have scheduled for the Thursday of the same week, so that would put us on August 10th. Sometimes you guys have chosen to meet at noon, sometimes at 5, as we do now. So I was just going to try and get a feel for if people are available on the 10th and when you would like to meet.
You mean September 10th, right, Kate?
I do, yes. Thanks.
That's all right. Sometimes we reschedule for noon on a reschedule day. That's better or worse for people?
I'm going to be out of town. This is Donna from the 2nd through the 13th, so y'all may have to go without me.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm good at lunch or 5. Doesn't make a difference to me this far out.
Fine.
Griffin?
I'm good with either.
Whatever y'all prefer, Kate.
I think we'd prefer to do it at noon on the 10th if it's the same to y'all.
Sure.
Okay, great. I will send you guys out a reminder so that everyone has it on their calendar.
Hey, Kate,
Uh-huh.
if we're going to be doing this virtually, I can probably make that work too. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, as far as we know right now, City Hall is remaining closed to the public. There's not a date set for reopening yet. So for the foreseeable future, we are doing the meetings virtually entirely.
Okay, well, so let me back up. So you're thinking noon on the 10th?
Uh-huh.
Okay, put me down and I will let you know if that doesn't work.
Okay, great, thank you.
And just a reminder, we will have that 208 building coming for complimentary review at that meeting, so.
Right, now, I really would like to be in on that.
Great.
Okay.
Anything else before the commission? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Griffin Tanner.
All right. All those in favor indicate by saying yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? Have a good week, folks.
Great,
Thank you, you too.
Nice.
This meeting is no longer being recorded or transcribed.